Hey guys, and welcome to Tasmania TV. In today's video I am showing you something really cool, and it is a statement piece for your cyber wardrobe. I'm calling it the Cage Tube Skirt. It was inspired by a skirt that I've seen on Ophelia Overdose. If you don't know who that is, I suggest you image Google her because she is an awesome gal. Here's what you'll need to make the skirt. First of all, I'm going to make the straps out of this PVC fabric. If you live in Sweden, you can pick this up at Olssons Tiger, but it's a regular kind of fabric. PVC isn't really that tricky to come by, so you can just pick it up at any fabric store, I bet, or probably on eBay as well. It is a black, a little bit stretchy, and high shine. If you don't like the high shine part, you can skip the PVC and just use this, which is elastic. I'm going to use this only for the waistband, but if you prefer, you can use this for the straps as well. But I really like that high shine, almost latex feeling that you get from the PVC, so I'm going to use that for my straps. Obviously, you're also going to need some tubing. This is plastic tubing. It's 1 centimeter wide, and I got it off of eBay. I think it's 10 meters, and I want to stay all black with this, but go crazy with colors if you guys want to. Now, in order to sew through the PVC, you're going to need polyester thread, and you're going to need your stretch needle. Otherwise, it's not going to work at all. And like I said, the elastic, that's important. And for the waistband, you want an elastic that is medium thick. This one is 25 millimeters. So if you get one that's too thick, it's going to be like really tight, because the thicker it is, the tighter it gets. And if you get one that's too thin, it's going to be maybe a little bit too loose. I think that a medium thick elastic is going to work best. So 25 millimeters is the one that I'm using today. You're also going to need a little bit of duct tape in the same color as the tube, because this is what I'm going to be using to close the tubes up. Other than that, you're going to need your sewing machine, scissors, and all your regular sewing stuff. So with that said, let's get started. The very first thing that I'm going to do is get out my elastic. We're going to start by creating the waistband. So decide how high up you want your skirt to go and how tight you want it to be. I'm putting this just below my belly button, and I want it just a little tight. I don't want it to be like, oh my god, I can't breathe. So mark that. Alright, it's marked, so I'm going to start by sewing this shut and cutting the excess off. Get a pen and paper, because you're going to need to write a couple of measurements down. The first measurement is the total length that you want for your skirt. You also need to decide how many straps you want. The third one is you need to know the space between the layers. So if you, for instance, decide that your total skirt is going to be 100 centimeters long, and you decide that you want 4 layers of straps, well, obviously then there's going to be 25 centimeters in between each layer, because 4 times 25 is 100, so you need to do a little bit of math here, guys. The fourth one is you need to know the space on the fabric for every single tube fold. So we're going to sew little folds into the straps that we can pull the tube through. Now you need to check the measurements for your specific tubing, so I'm going to show you guys a way to do that before you start sewing. And final one, you need to know what length to cut your straps to. Obviously you still need to know the length of your tubes as well, but we're going to deal with that later by just trying it on actually. So yeah, the length of straps. Now in order to reach this measurement, you need to take number 3 and 4 into consideration here. If you need to pause, go ahead and do that. What I've done here is cut a little tiny piece of the PVC fabric in order to try out how big I want my loops or folds to be that the tube is going to go in. So what I'm going to do here is basically just wrap it around like so, not too tight, and then just put a little needle through here. Make sure that the tube is able to move, but it's not super loose either. Then removing it and measuring that. So that is 5 centimeters folded over like so, which means that you need to add, for the length of your straps, you need to remember that we're going to create folds, and every single fold requires 5 centimeters. So for the number of folds you want to make in each strap, just add 5 centimeters to your full measurement. I'm now going to start cutting my straps, and based on the measurements that I made for my skirt, I'm going to make each strap 64 centimeters long, and I'm going to cut 6 of them. Lengthwise, you don't need to think about any kind of hemming, but you do need to think about hemming for the short edges. So the width of the bands that you do need to be about 3 times thicker than what you actually want for your final strap. I think I want my straps to be about 3 centimeters long, so I'm going to cut them about 9 centimeters wide each. Now that all my straps have been cut out, I'm going to start by sewing them all together. Now there are a couple of different ways to do that. You can either fold in the edges like so, pin down and sew along each side, or you can flip your straps over so that the inside is facing outwards, like I've done here. Pin all along, sew all along your pin line, and then flip the whole thing back the correct way. All of my straps have now been sewn, and if you use the tunnel method like I did, you can go ahead and flip yours the correct way. Now we're going to start putting the folds in. So you need to get your measurements out to know where to place the folds. I've decided I'm going to do 4 layers of tubing, which means I need to make 4 folds in each one of my straps. My straps are all 64 centimeters long, and my folds are going to take up 5 centimeters. This means that I need to place the folds with 11 centimeters in between. The first fold I'm creating is at the very bottom. Take your measuring stick and fold it over to match the fold measurement that you have on your measurement sheet. And then match that on the end of the strap, making sure to put the needle where you're going to sew. Alright, so we have the placement of the first fold, and then I'm going to measure 11 centimeters up and start the next fold from here. So again, from 11 I'm going to measure up to 16, which is 5 centimeters, and that will make up my second fold. I'm going to keep repeating that process so that I get 4 folds with 11 centimeters in between on each one of my 6 straps. All my 6 straps now have their folds. So there's 3 that stand out like this, and then the edge ones. Now I've left the top edge just the way it is, because this is going to be covered by the waistband. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is sew all of the folds. When all the folds have been sewn into your straps, it's time to start placing these onto your waistline. I'm using my mannequin for this just because it's easier to show you guys. You don't need a mannequin, you can totally do this while this is on your own body. I'm taking my first strap and basically just putting it in there. I want 2 in the front, 1 on each side, and then 2 in the back. Once I'm happy with the placement, I'm going to pin them to the waistband. I'm then going to slide this off of my doll and sew the straps on. Once you've sewn them on, you can go ahead and cut off any excess fabric, leaving a nice, clean waistline. After that, slip your skirt back on and get your tube out. Start feeding your tube through the top layer of your fold. Once you have your tube through the first layer of folds, find where your 2 ends are going to meet, and then use your carpet cutting knife to cut the tube. Close the open edge by taping it shut using black duct tape. Then repeat this process for your other layers. And then you are done. Very fun, bold statement kind of skirt, and it's really gonna get you noticed. I think it's worn best with an awesome pair of hot pants and some cute leggings. but to each their own. Thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!